Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I get this question a lot. What's the difference between the Murattal style and the Mujawwad style of recitation? Some people ask this question, they're not really sure what the terms mean, what exactly we're referring to with these styles. And then another question that's connected to that is how do those styles, how does Murattal and Mujawwad relate to the maqamat? So I want to answer those two questions in this video. So we'll talk a little bit about the styles first of all. When we speak of Murattal style and Mujawwad style, we're talking about two different kind of like genres of recitation, or two different styles or expressions of recitation, right? Very quickly, the short answer, right, and then we'll go for the long answer. The short answer is that the Murattal style is a faster style of recitation that's common, like for example, the recitation of Sheikh Sudais, for example, Sheikh Shuraim, Sheikh Al-Afasi, a faster, quicker, more flowing style. And then we have the slow style of recitation, which is the Mujawwad style. That's the style of like Sheikh Al-Minshawi, Sheikh Abdul Basit, Sheikh Mustafa Ismail, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhim. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon them all and preserve the ones who are alive for us to continue to benefit the ummah. That's kind of the quick answer. Faster style, slower style. Murattal being the faster style, Mujawwad being the slower style. Right? We'll notice a few things first of all. In the Murattal style, there's a tendency first of all to not vary between maqamat. You take an example like Sheikh Sudais. He recites consistently in the same tune. Pick one surah, pick another surah, go sample like his whole entire recitation of the Quran, and you'll find that wherever you look, he's basically reciting the same tune. Then you go to a Mujawwad style recitation, and you'll find that the reciter is more creative in terms of using one maqam, varying to a different maqam, varying to another maqam, and so on, right? So that's kind of like a quick answer. The Murattal Mujawwad style, first of all, regarding the terms, sometimes you'll hear people use the terms tartil and tajweed. I don't like those terms because it kind of suggests that this is one style is tartil, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا, and that this other is not tartil. And then if you use the word tajweed for this, it implies that this style, the Mujawwad style, has tajweed and the other one doesn't have tajweed, right? The term, or speaking about tartil and tajweed, those terms are together in the sense that all the recitations have to be tartil according to the command وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا, and all meaning recited with the rules, ahkam of tajweed, both styles. So we prefer the term Murattal and Mujawwad just to distinguish between the two different styles. To give you an example very quickly, suppose we take the beginning of Surah Ar-Rahman, right? Take the beginning of Surah Ar-Rahman. In a Murattal style, it might be recited, for example, أعوذ بالله بسم الله العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان. So there's a flow to the recitation, emphasis is almost on, the continuation, right? You'll find that, of course, there's that speed to it, the flow, continuation, very short pauses in between, not much repetitions in the recitation. And it's kind of like a more, shall we say, a more accessible style. A style that's more like, I was going to say for the masses, that sounds kind of bad. Not really, like, it has a lower, what's the term? It has a lower requirement to it, right? In terms of vocal ability and so on, it has a lower entry point, right? It's accessible, right? The majority of people, if they're reciting in Salah, they're going to recite in this style, a quicker style, not much fluctuation of melody, not much variation in maqam, and so on. So that's the Murattal style. You'll find, as an example of some of the famous Qur'an, like Sheikh Sudais, Sheikh Shuraim, Sheikh Abu Bakr al-Shatiri, Sheikh Sa'ad al-Ghamidi, Sheikh Al-Afasi. Sheikh Al-Afasi now is a bit unique because speed-wise, tempo-wise, he's in the Murattal category, but he varies a lot between maqamat. He has extensive, depth when it comes to his recitation. He can vary between the maqamat very easily. So he's kind of like, again, most things in life aren't black and white. When we speak of Murattal and Mujawwad, it's not like it's two discrete systems and you either choose to recite one way. There's a spectrum, right? Someone like Sheikh Al-Afasi is somewhere like Murattal in terms of his speed, but Mujawwad in terms of his creative expression, right? So that's that, Murattal style. Now, if we compare it, like going back to the example I gave you of the beginning of Ar-Rahman, right? So, Ar-Rahman 'allama al-Qur'an, khalaqa al-insana 'allamahu al-bayan, right? A faster, smoother style. Compare that to Mujawwad style. If we recite that Mujawwad style, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان. Right? And Mujawwad actually can't even be contained in just that, because barely we got into the flavor of Mujawwad. Mujawwad, the recitation is slower. The reciters repeat. They'll go back and repeat and like change the melody as they repeat, right? They'll change even the qira'at, right? So this is kind of like outside the domain. It's not just voice and maqamat and so on, but they'll change a lot of times in the Mujawwad recitation. The qari has like a lot of extensive knowledge also of the different qira'at, and they'll repeat it in different qira'at as well, right? So it's a more advanced style which requires a greater skill set for the reciter and a greater skill set also for the listener. Like the listener has to be able to have an understanding of what's going on to fully appreciate the depth of what is going on, right? There's a lot more in terms of vocal ability, breath control. A lot of times long ayat are being recited. Sometimes a few ayat together are being recited in one breath. And there's like more of a conscious effort on the part of the reciter to paint a picture of what's happening, right? To paint a picture, to bring out the meaning of what is being recited, right? And to convey that through their voice. It has its own unique, you could say, the word in Arabic is qafalat, like the ending of the ayat. It has its own unique melodies, right? Allamahul bayan, right? An ending like that, you're not going to find that in the Murattal style, because the way the flow is, the faster flow, you're not going to get even space to do that kind of thing with your voice, right? So that's the Mujawwad style. And of course the context of that, is more like a public recitation where the qari is in front and reciting, and there's more of an emphasis on tahsin al-sawt, beautifying the recitation and so on, which is different than, for example, Salat al-Tarawih, where you're just like, going a bit smoother and the focus is on the flow and continuity. Some famous qurra'as we mentioned: Sheikh Abdul Basit, Abdul Samad, everybody knows him. Sheikh Mustafa Ismail, Sheikh Muhammad Siddiq al-Minshawi, Sheikh Muhammad Rifat, and many others recite in the Mujawwad style, right? So I hope that gives kind of a good idea of what's going on when we're speaking about Murattal and Mujawwad. The other question that people ask, how does that relate to the maqamat? The maqamat are specific tune patterns, right? So now when we're dealing with Murattal reciter, say Sheikh Sudais, he's reciting continuously in one maqam rast, and he's always reciting like that, right? Whereas another reciter on the Mujawwad side might recite starting in maqam bayati, then switch to maqam hijaz, and switch to another maqam, little bit of rast, little bit of nahawan, and end back in bayati. So they're using different maqamat. But on this side, the Murattal style, typically only one maqam per recitation, right? You might find some reciters, Sheikh Sa'ad al-Ghamdi, for example, you'll find different examples of him in different maqamat. But the style itself refers to overall the style, the faster pace, less variation between maqamat, and so on. There are actually other styles, like once you get into it a little bit more, you might hear about the muallim style, which is a teaching style. You'll hear about the, even amongst the Murattal style, we'll deal with different styles, like there's like Murattal it gets interesting. You'll find, for example, there's Egyptian Murattal, which is a Murattal style. Like if you have Sheikh Abdul Basit or Sheikh Minshawi, who are Mujawwad reciters, you'll have also, they have a Murattal recording, which is a simpler recording for the purpose of like transmission of the Quran, right? Which is different than the recitations on this side, the Murattal recitations that are like Sheikh Sudais and the Saudi reciters and the from the Gulf and stuff like that. So yeah, it gets interesting. Different styles, different regional differences. Even amongst the Murattal style, you'll find different, like, you know, different regions, different styles, different emphasis on different maqamat. Anyway, it's a huge topic, but that's that, just to give you a sense and to answer those questions that I commonly get. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.